Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Horror Realm. I'm Travis Bruce, and today we're doing another indie horror spotlight. Today, I have with us, he's the director of a new movie that's in production right now, and it's called Lilith. I have with us Jay Crimson. Jay, welcome to the Horror Realm.
What up, Travis? How you doing, dude?
Good, brother, man. It's good to have you, man. Now, tell us a little bit about Lilith.
Lilith is my fourth real movie project, fourth official movie project. I've had 3 short films. This one might be a little on the shorter side too, but it's definitely ups the ante in effects, acting, production, all that kind of stuff. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm excited about it. It's going to be gritty, gross. Yeah, it's going to be disgusting and pretty violent. Pretty violent, I'd have to say.
That sounds like right up my fucking alley, man. Now, you've done a couple other films now, and I'm pretty sure you've grown over time. What is something that, if a new indie horror filmmaker is watching this show right now, what is something that you have learned over your journey so far?
Just to take risks and try something you initially might think isn't going to work, because it might fucking work. So,
yeah,
give it a shot, see what it looks like. I filmed Lilith entirely on my Android phone.
Wow.
Yes, and I like using strange things to make my movies with. My first film, Green Hell, was filmed on a high 8 tape with a Sony Handycam, and Crickets in the Snow and The Witch were recorded on a $20 AA battery Vivitar camera from Meyer, so which I had dropped numerous times in the snow. So it was glitchy from the get-go, and I loved it. I was just like, all right, it's barely doing it, but I can make the audio my own. So the audio was the worst part of it, because you play back, it was just like a bunch of
jargon. That win, yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so I'll make a silent movie. So I figured I'll make a cool, artistic 6-minute silent movie, and I titled it The Witch, and it had my friend Deanna Lee in it, and I think we did a pretty cool job for it being really short. And I like the old school black and white horror vibe stuff, so that's what we incorporated with that one.
See, one thing, man. So I'm an '80s kid, and I love that gritty fucking look, man. I like something that looks like it's a snuff film or something, like, you know what I mean? It looks like something that someone could have possibly made in their basement. I love that stuff because it gives an eerie feeling to it itself.
Green Hell is very much a basement film. I mean, granted, it wasn't filmed in a basement, but I would still call it a basement film because it has that gritty vibe. It has that 80s VHS quality look. Because I actually hooked 2 VCRs together to get the actual lines and the color bars and stuff like that in there. So, but then we ran it through a computer and did it that way as well. So that's what Green Hell was all about.
Now, do you feel as a filmmaker, do you feel like with the monetization of cameras and effects and all that shit, do you feel like it takes away some of the aura from horror? I mean, because if you look at early horror movie, it had that grainy look to it. It had that low budget feel to it, and I think it gave it some of its personality.
For sure, I agree. I also think it's natural for things to progress to a certain way. It's a natural thing to have happen with newer stuff, technology, better effects, stuff like that. No, it's and that goes with anything, really, like sports, television, anything on TV. It just changes and goes with the times, goes with the flow. I think that there's always going to be a place for nostalgia in the underground and like retro stuff that came out like in the 60s, even 60s, 70s, 80s in horror. Like, there's going to be like a new level of low budget. And then in another 20 years, there'll be a new level of low budget because everything technology-wise is always improving and going through a progressive state.
And I totally agree. Now, no, you were telling me about Lilith. You said it's going to be gross, violent. Now, do you worry at any point as being a creator that well, this might go too far. This might offend people.
Yeah, I do think that sometimes, but I'm a punk rocker, so that's kind of right up my alley too. I don't really give a shit, but there are, because it's an art form. Art is supposed to disturb. It's supposed to offend. If that's your goal, if it's not, okay then. There's no worries, because that's what you're looking for. People who are looking to be a little poked like a bear, poke the bear, then they're looking for something to get poked with, you know what I mean? I'm not worried about that at all. If someone is, then that wasn't my intention. My intention was to entertain in a violent and disgusting fashion.
But isn't horror supposed to be a little bit offensive, though?
Yeah, it's supposed to be disruptive. It's supposed to be chaotic, It's supposed to rub you the wrong way at times.
Yeah, I mean that's what I mean. You have to especially when you watch horror, you have to go in with an open mind, and you have to think this is entertainment. This is for, this is a creator's vision, and you kind of got to put your feelings on the side because horror is supposed to be somewhat offensive. It's supposed to be terrifying. It's supposed to be gross. It's supposed to be heavy on the edges. It's supposed to disturb you.
That's right. I agree with that. There's different levels of horror. That's why you got your slasher film, your psychedelic film, your psychological horror. You got the slow burner. You got all kinds of stuff to get freaked out by. You can pick your level. If you watch Lilith's trailer, we have a teaser out right now, but we're going to have an official trailer out soon too, and that one, that'll let you know what's in this movie a little bit more, and I think people will be like, not my cup of tea. But the other person who likes stuff like Evil Dead or Terrifier 2, stuff like that are going to, or exploitation films, because this has some aspects of exploitation in it too, because I wanted to make people think a bit, and that's always my thing, how low someone can go type of thing. And sometimes people don't know that kind of thing happens until it's shown to them.
And I agree. Now, as an indie horror creator, right now, listen, it's booming. The industry is booming, but also there's a lot more creators out there. Now, what are some ways that you try to stand out from the rest?
I think a lot of it is just the camera style, my decision on angles, because there are some times where I'm like, let's just keep it real and just leave it there, and we'll do the whole scene in one angle or one shot type of thing. Or if I feel like it needs more, we'll throw more angles in there. But it's not overthought. If I want to be artistic, which this movie is different for me in that regard. Me and my editing partner, Justin Squires from Dark Forest Media, who has made short films himself, me and him shared the vision on this movie. Maybe not so much when I filmed it, but in the editing and then post-production stages that we're on, we were trying to do interesting things based on movies we've seen, doing things a little bit different, experimenting, having like two frames play at the same time type of thing. This film is going to be real innovative, I think, and it's I just wanted to do things differently, and it is a psychedelic horror film, as well as having gross out parts and violence, but it also tells like a dark story too, which may offend or it may uplift depending on who you are, how you were raised, how you grew up, stuff like that.
And see, I love the gore, I love the horror, but I'm 41 now, and I love a fucking good story with it, like something that ties all the pieces together and makes sense. And I mean, I think that's important in modern horror. Is that something that you agree with?
Yes, unless it is a type of film, because there are many types of films out there. Sometimes a movie can just take you on the journey by your eyes just being open. By just watching the film. The film can take you wherever, and if it bores you, then you're out of it, and if not, then you're invested. But I think plot is very important to a degree, unless you are trying to just make like a hybrid film music video type of thing. And there definitely is a plot in Lilith, and which the plot is, my main character, whose name is Lily, she has a terrible life, and she is a prostitute in the city, and she wants out of her, drug addicted, slum life type of scenario, and she decides to summon a deity, and she becomes possessed, and just things happen in it, and right from there, I just kind of take you on the ride, and some things happen, people get hurt, a lot of cool effects, trippy stuff, a lot of artistic vibes in this movie, but there is a very VHS 80s aspect to it too. And I was just surprised that he could do all of the editing that he's been doing, because I've been kind of blown away, and I've been like, wow, and just think I filmed all this shit on my phone, man. There's a scene where she's trying on a bunch of different wigs, and she's losing her mind, and she's rocking back and forth by a mirror, and she crouches down, puts her hands like this in the mirror, but you can see something in the mirror behind her, and I was just like, how did we get so fucking advanced, man? Like, I filmed this shit on my phone, like widescreen, holding my phone, not selfie. I told everyone too, no selfie style. If you're gonna send me footage for the movie, widescreen that shit. Widescreen it, because we can't use it. We'll have to blow it up,
Yeah.
So this whole movie has been a trip, quite literally.
Now, you're also a musician. Mm-hmm. Are we going to expect a great score or a great soundtrack with your movie?
Oh, see, there'll be some heavier stuff in the movie, some punk rock, some metal, I believe. My band Chemical Valley Mutants, my hardcore punk band from Port Huron, we'll have a song featured in there for a scene in particular. But I'm thinking, with this one, I'm going to go more the John Carpenter route. I wanted the movie to look 60s and sound 80s. That's what I expressed to Justin when we first got together to start the editing process. I was like, if we can make this look a little bit old and add some grain to it. It was already shot on a phone, an Android, a Motorola E6, mind you. And cameras. Whenever someone comes up to me and says, "Hey, I like your movies," and they like the grit and the grain and stuff like that, and say, "Hey, what do you suggest I film my movie on?" I'm always like, "Dude, there's a reason why my movies are gritty and grainy, because I used bullshit to film them." And that's what I liked about it. That's what I love about it all. Not bullshit, but yes. I used stuff from the outdated things to film, and I did it for a reason, because everybody's clamoring about this and that. If it's 720 or higher, you're good to go.
Yes.
But there was an HD. I think I filmed a lot of this in 720, and it was automatically upgraded by upload, so it looks a little better. And yeah, just use anything. I got an old Super 8 camera too that I need to get a new battery for. I got it at a thrift store. I was like, what is that? And it didn't have a cartridge in it, but the battery, when you press the trigger, it goes click, 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 click. And I'm like, ooh, I need to get me a cartridge. I want to film a comedy on something really low budget, dark humor, raunchy, like sci-fi punk, something like SLC Punk meets Mad Max and like Clerks, something like that. I just think that'd be kind of cool.
Now, by being a punk rocker, I'm assuming that helps with your rebellious and your fuck everything, fuck society when it comes to filmmaking, and fuck, the black magic cameras. I'm gonna shoot it with a Motorola.
Yep, definitely feeds into it all. It's what do they call it? It's nonconformist. Nonconformist punk rock. Oh, those are goths. Yeah, the nonconformist goths. Yeah.
Because majority of people ask me sometimes, like when I do like my videos for like horror conventions, where I do walkthroughs, they're like, "Oh my goodness, what did you film that with?" And I was like, "A GoPro 6." Like I literally have an old ass GoPro 6 I got for eBay for like $50, and that's what I use, and it still has great quality and this and that. But people don't know, but it has that grainy look to it. That's what I like.
Me too. But we put a grain over the whole film, except for maybe a part that we had to zoom up in. Maybe we'll take it out for that, just so it looks better, and then put the grain right back for the next shot. Stuff like that, just accompany the vibe and make sure everything is presented the best way it can be, or purposefully not. But we did a few innovative things, like I filmed and dropped my camera, and we used what was on there with a pillow so it wouldn't break my phone and stuff like that. So there's stuff like that in the movie. There's the way that things spin, and here's actually a prop.
Nice.
Yeah, out of nowhere. Yeah, he's one of the props for the film. Put the blood pump in the back, and
right there.
I get pulled out, so there's a little bit of blood in there. But that's one of them. And James Bell, he lives in Utica, Michigan, or at least Utica Township, something like that. But James Bell and his wife May, they do silicone.
Nice.
Yeah, they do the silicone.
That looks real as shit.
Props, I know. I was like, dude, I'm kind of freaked out holding the damn thing, like all gory on the other side. Yeah, and the eyelashes, probably can't see them too good, but those eyelashes, man, real hair.
Look real.
Right, it was cool, and like other pieces like this and stuff like that. He does really good stuff, very fine crap videos, and he goes all over with his props and sells them at conventions and horror cons and stuff like that.
Now, how do you come up with the sick shit in your movies? Like, how does those images come up in your head?
Actually, this movie, there was one, I wanted to do something controversial, of course, because I just want to force eyes my way. And I thought the best way to do it is to use a sexual organ and put a living creature in it. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'll say.
I'm already fucking curious.
And that, I wrote the movie around that.
Around that? Really?
Yep. I was like, I've never seen this in a movie. What director would have the balls enough to have that on screen? And you can get away with it in the independents. Like, I'm not super well known. I'm getting to a point because I work with trauma, but it's nothing crazy. So this would be perfect, and even the traumites would love it. So,
Love it, man. All right, listen, Jay. You know this is a hard channel, of course. And every once in a while, I like doing this, man. I like asking 3 random horror questions. This is your personal opinion, okay?
Okay.
All right, so you just brought up trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Rank your top 5 favorite trauma films of all time.
5 trauma films. Well, I'm going to go with Surf Nazis Must Die.
It's a great one.
That's a good one. I'm going to go with Trauma's War. I'm going to go with, let's see here. I'm going to go with Romeo and Juliet just because it was so bizarre. And
Absolutely bizarre.
Yeah, Class of Nukem High, and of course the Toxic Avenger, the first one.
The first one.
Yep, the one that started it all.
See, I'm a Sergeant Kabuki Man fan.
Oh yeah, it was good too.
And but my favorite Toxic Avenger is actually Citizen Toxic, which is part 4. That's my favorite Toxic.
That one, talk about offensive. Wow.
Yes.
Like
on
that movie,
so many levels.
Laughed the whole fucking time too. Like
so many levels.
It takes a special person.
So many levels, and that's what one thing I love about trauma. Yeah, that's in my. I mean, you guys mentioned Surf Nazis Must Die. I mean,
yes,
Leroy's mama and this and that. Like, oh my goodness, that's so offensive.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, you gotta have thick skin, and I don't know. I think that whole thick skin thing's dying out from the 80s. Us 80s babies. It's gone.
It's 1% gone, man.
We'll just do our thing until we die out.
It's 1% gone. It's 100% gone, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The second question is, what horror movie series are you done with? Like, you wish they would put a pause on it or just never come back?
Ooh, a part of me wants to say Jeepers Creepers because of the initial director and the bullshit he was entwined with. Because I'm very against people like that. It's hard to watch it now, and it was a good movie too. And I'm just like, but I feel like the other ones are cursed by it almost.
100%.
The second one was a good film too. And I don't know. Did he have a lot to do with the second one?
I think he had a lot to do with the first 2, and then the third one was straight to DVD or whatever the fuck was horrible.
It's hard. It's hard to separate when the crime is that severe. Like liking this is I don't think I'm too well known enough to get canceled yet. So I'll say that I think that's more disgraceful than say listening to Marilyn Manson. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In 2024, like exactly. That, like, because he's an easy target, Manson. You know what I mean? So people are gonna try their best. So that's how I view it, anyways. And yeah, if social media was popular back when Alice Cooper first started, I feel like he'd have a lot of issues too. I feel like social media has made people crave faux or fake praise.
Yes, 100% agree. And Jeepers Creepers, I enjoyed the first one, but I've never been a fan of that series. And I heard that they're making another fucking reboot, and I definitely would not be seeing it because I'm just not a fan of the series. The filmmaker himself, yeah, of course, not a fan. But the movies themselves, beside the first one, I thought were all garbage, in my opinion.
The character was a cool premise, I thought, and everything, but they just went somewhere weird with it. They went, I don't know. But yeah, that goes hand in hand with about me disliking that whole community of people, we'll say. You ever heard of Dads Against Predators?
Yes.
those guys. Yeah, they let us use some of their footage for our Chemical Valley Mutants vigilante music video, and yeah, because I'm big on that. Actually, I started the Crimson Cult, which is pretty much hashtag the Crimson Cult, which is just a handle I put on stuff. But yeah, all I'll say is all it takes is one fake profile.
Boom, railing in. Love it. Love it.
It needs to be around more, and just
But the crazy thing is about it is, I'm gonna go ahead and just say what I'm gonna say. Every single woman I've ever dated, whatever, in my whole entire life, right, has told me a story, and this is crazy, and this can't be a coincidence. Has told me a story.
It's not.
At some
I know what
point,
you're gonna say.
At some point, when they were under 18-year-old, they were fucking a grown ass man,
or their family, someone in their family
member, or
a lot of women I know,
or they were 12 or 13, fucking a 22-year-old or something.
Yes.
Every single one of them has that fucking story. So it's a more bigger issue than most people think. Well, I should say most men think. But I mean, because every single woman that I've ran into, listen, and I'm not trying to say I'm like a hoe or anything, but it's been quite a few women has had that story of, and some of them are famous dudes. Some of them are like, I was 13 years old, I was fucking Biggie Smalls or something. Like, something completely fucking crazy. And you're like, whoa.
Yeah. But it's like, how old was he? And you gauge what's okay. I mean, a 13-year-old with a 15-year-old, that's kind of big whoop kind of thing. But like,
but most of them are like 13 and a 25-year-old or 30-year-old. Those are the stories I'm hearing. Like,
yeah,
and like,
that's bad.
And it gets fucked up when unfortunately I hear a lot of women blame the young girls. Was like, oh, well, you shouldn't have been talking to a fucking 30-year-old in the first place. And like, well, maybe the 30-year-old should be talking to 13-year-old. Like, why are you like blaming why are you blaming the fucking kid?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's fucking.
If anything, blame the fucking parents.
That too, yeah, the parents definitely.
I feel like every parent should have to take a test of sorts and go through loops and hoops. It should be harder to have a child. And I'm not saying if you have one, punt it into a different planet like on Rick and Morty. I'm talking about, I'm talking about...
But how does it even a 15-year-old girl fucks a grown-ass man away? Like, how does that, as a parent, how do you even allow that to happen? You know what I mean? Like, right. How does that... Like, I feel like that's bad parenting. 100%.
Yeah.
It's 100% bad parenting. You don't know where the fuck your kids are at or what they're fucking doing. That's bad parenting.
Yep.
All right. Put you guys into a deep conversation, which I do every once in a while. All right.
Same.
All right. The final question. What is one horror movie that everybody loves and you're like, I don't fucking see it?
Ooh. Damn. Oh, The Conjuring.
All of them, or just the...
That first one everyone clamored over didn't do nothing for me. Like, I feel like it would have worked 10 years before it came out, more so. I just feel like the whole clap game and stuff like that, what freaked people out, it had its moments, but I feel like it should have, based on everything they showed us in that movie at the time, I feel like it should have came out at least 10 or 15 years before, and it would have worked. I feel like they already surpassed it and did that a million times.
Unfortunately.
Amityville, The Exorcist, Haunting in Connecticut, stuff like that, just for them to do kind of the same thing. And I know it was based on somewhat of a true story, but yeah, I don't know. I just didn't feel it.
Did you know the biggest issue with those movies that bothered me the most? And I somewhat like the first two, right? But the thing that bothers me about those movies is They show literally all the fucking scary good parts in the fucking trailer. I don't know why they do that. All of the parts that would normally probably scare the shit out of you, made you jump, it's literally in the trailer. So when you watch the movie, you already know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why they do that.
Yeah. A movie that actually surprised me was Malignant.
Malignant is amazing.
I was like, at first I thought, okay, standard PG-13-ish horror film. And then it got to the part where she's doing the flips and stuff backwards and with the guns and knives, and I'm just like, what happened to this movie? Like,
yes.
Where did this badassery come from? I loved it, man. And I heard they're making a sequel, so hell yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah, man. I fucking love that movie. That was one of the movies that I definitely checked out during COVID. I think it was on HBO Max or something like that.
Yeah, I seen it in theaters, actually.
Oh, nice.
Good movie.
It's a great movie. All right, Jay, where can everyone find you and your work?
I have a Facebook page, which is my main kind of thing right now, and that's facebook.com/jcrimson83. And I have, my band, Chemical Valley Mutants, is at facebook.com/x Chemical Valley Mutants X to check out all the hardcore punk rock shit. And I have updates on my movies and stuff like that through my Facebook page, my personal Facebook page. I got an Instagram. It's instagram.com/jcrimson83. And I have a YouTube, youtube.com/killyourboss69. I know, high school shit. And just never let me change it. And I got all these subscribers. I'm like, I'm not changing it now.
Yeah, I'm keeping that.
Yeah, I'm keeping that shit the same. Yeah, it's Crimson Videos, and you can type that in, and it'll probably take you to something I've done.
Love it, listen, man. Jay, if you can throw me a copy of the screener for Lilith, I would love to watch it and have you back on, and we can just talk about it, man.
Excellent. That would be sick.
All right, everybody. Well, listen, thank you for coming to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce, and that is Jay Crimson.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll see you next time. Take care.
Have a good one.